Hi there, I'm TheFarmerJ, and welcome to Jay Plays Every Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons game. This is the series where, you guessed it, I play every Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons game. In my first video, I talked about the history of the Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons franchise, including discussing the creator, the reason for the franchise's name change from Harvest Moon to Story of Seasons, and my personal history with the game series. In this series, I will play at least 1 year of the game and discuss the crop selection, the animals available, the relationship interactions, the music, and whatever other random things I notice that make each game stand out. Some videos will also feature information about the history of the game development. The original Harvest Moon, titled Bokujo Monogatari in Japanese or Farm Story in English, was produced by Yasuhiro Wada. In an interview, Wada shared that the game was inspired by his childhood in the countryside and the desire to create a video game without combat. If you're interested in more of the specifics of the development process, definitely check out the link in the description for the interview with Wada on the GDC Vault website. Harvest Moon was released for the SNES in Japan in 1996, in 1997 in the United States, and 1998 in Europe. I really enjoy comparing cover art for different regions, and I think the European cover is so different from the American and Japanese covers. I think that it doesn't convey the atmosphere of the game as accurately as the American and Japanese covers, but it's still really beautiful. The game had overall positive reviews despite releasing on the SNES after the release of the Nintendo 64. Reviews from the time period expressed surprise at the concept of a game about farming, which is so funny to read nowadays in a post-Stardew world. And without getting too off track, it's amazing to be in a time where there are so many farming sims to choose from. My childhood self would never have imagined the genre being so popular. Getting back on track, the storyline of the game is one that is familiar in the genre. You have inherited a farm from your grandfather and are tasked with fixing it up. Throughout the game, you clear rocks, weeds, and stumps from the field, plant and harvest crops, care for livestock, and ship your goods to make money. You are also able to marry a woman in town and have up to 2 children. Unfortunately, you don't have the option to choose your character's gender and can only play as a male character. The original Harvest Moon has only 4 crops. Potatoes and turnips grow in spring, and corn and tomatoes grow in summer. It's a bit odd, but there are no crops in this original game that grow in fall. You can also grow grass in every season but winter, and you cut the grass to make fodder. Growing and harvesting crops is very similar to later games. I do want to mention though that the seeds you buy can be sown in a 3x3 pattern, unlike some games where one seed is one crop. The only animals in the original game that you raise for products are chickens and cows. You can brush and milk your cow and get eggs from your chicken, as I suppose you could probably guess. You can let them outside, which makes them happier, but to be honest, I rarely ever did because it was such a pain to bring them out and remember to bring them back inside. Maybe not the most ethical of farms. Definitely don't leave your chickens outside, because if you do, they will be eaten by wild dogs. Oof. You don't see that happen, you just get a message about it and the chickens are gone. Rest in peace. You do also have a pet dog, which can keep wild dogs from coming. Maybe, I don't know, it's not clear if that actually works, but it's what you're told in the game. Finally, you have a horse, which might be my favorite animal in this game. You can ride it to move around faster around the town, but the coolest thing in my opinion is that you can buy saddlebags. And when the horse has saddlebags, you can use it as a movable shipping bin, so you don't waste valuable time running back and forth from your fields to the shipping bin near the entrance of your farm. And make sure to put your items to ship in the bin before 5 p.m. so you can get paid the next day. If you put items in the bin after 5 p.m., they will be lost and you won't get paid for them. Another thing that I think is unique to this game is that after 6 p.m., the clock stops completely, so if you're the min-max type, you can save all the work that does not involve shipping items for that time period. Through playing the game, you will eventually unlock golden versions of your tools. These allow you to complete your work a lot faster. I want to briefly discuss fishing and mining in the game because those play much larger roles in many later games in the series. There's a little pond in the mountain area that you can fish in. It's a simple click the button when you see the rod move game. Sometimes you get trash and sometimes you get a fish that you can then carry down to your farm and put in the shipping bin. To my knowledge, there's only one type of fish. Very simple. As far as mining goes, there's a cave that has rocks you can smash with the hammer, but there does not seem to be any actual mining that takes place or any purpose to this. And I also wanted to mention cooking because that is a big part of later games. There is no cooking, but you do get to confirm the origin of fire? Cool, I guess. I don't have much to say on the music because I'm not terribly knowledgeable in the area from a critical point of view, but I wanted to include this section to share some tiny snippets from the game. It's pleasant, though gets pretty repetitive, so I did often play with the volume off. Now for the thing that many people really like to focus on for every game of this type. Romance. Something very odd about this game compared to every other is that the bachelorettes are the only named characters in the game. If you've played the much later game Magical Melody, many of the names will be familiar to you as they are the same. Anne is an inventor who lives with her dad at the tool shop. Anne is smart and is described as a tomboy. Ellen is a cook and works with her mother at their restaurant. Ellen's father is a juiceaholic? More on that in a second. Ellen is dependable and kind. Eve lives and works at the bar in town and is very flirtatious but has issues with abandonment. Eve's grandfather is a hunter who lives in the mountain area. So, juice. In the American release of the game, alcoholic beverages had their name changed to juice for censorship purposes, but you're definitely still getting lit. I'm not positive yet if every one of the games censors alcohol in the American releases, and I'm also not positive if the European English releases also censor alcohol. Let me know in the comments if you know. Back on topic. The next bachelorette is Maria, and she is the mayor's daughter, and is seen as a nice religious girl. Finally, Nina lives and works at the flower shop where you buy seeds with her mother. Nina is very cheerful and loves flowers. And I don't know if this is true, but the Harvest Moon wiki says that when you marry Nina, she will like poisonous mushrooms as a gift, despite not liking them prior to marriage. So, watch your back. That reminds me, there are so many rumors about the things that happen in many of these games. The Chihuahua in A Wonderful Life, anyone? Nowadays, many of those rumors, such as how to get different endings, have been made clear thanks to the internet, and I'll certainly try to not accidentally spread misinformation. Shoot, I got distracted again. Romance. Like a lot of the games, you give the bachelorettes gifts until their affection gets high enough, then propose with the blue feather after you purchase it. As a heads up, you get married immediately after proposing, so be ready for that. There are also a few romance scenes that occur throughout the game, but they're pretty minimal. And unfortunately, the women all change into a dress with an apron over it and seem to mainly focus on chores after marriage. Not the, most progressive. I romanced Eve in my original playthrough, and though it was very basic, it was interesting to find that she was quite a complex character with insecurities, rather than a perfect future wife with no flaws type of character. Also, because I only played for 1 year, I did not have a child in the game. I imagine there might not be any games in the series that allow you to have a child in the first year, so I might have to make another video someday about the differences between the games with raising children. Since romance is often a large component of these games, I also want to share something personal about myself. I'm bi. I share this because in later games I often romance male characters. I'm so happy that the vast majority of farming sims nowadays, including the remakes of older Harvest Moon games, include same-sex marriage and romance. I'll probably talk about this more in later videos, but the first game in the franchise that allowed same-sex marriage was the Story of Seasons remake of Friends of Mineral Town, which came out in 2020. It's pretty wild that it took that long, but as an international franchise, it makes sense in many ways. I want everyone that watches my videos to know that this is an LGBT-friendly space, so if that's an issue, these may not be the videos for you. But anyway, back on topic again. I won't get into too much about the endings because I did not reach the end personally, playing only around 1 year of the game. But it's pretty cool to know that there are 20 of them, and the ending you get depends on a variety of factors, including whether you are married or not, and who you married, whether you had kids or not, how you treated your animals, and whether you cared for your farm at all, amongst many others. The YouTube channel HM Events has videos of every ending, so check that out if you're interested. Prior to this project, I had not played the original Harvest Moon before, and there were many things that surprised me. I find the animations and pixel art very charming, and in many ways they are more appealing to me than some modern farming sims or other cozy games that are inspired by the aesthetic. I also want to mention that I played on an emulator on the computer rather than on the original SNES. I also played some of it on a handheld emulator device, and it felt amazing on that. As far as the downsides, there are a few. There are many things in the game that are not explained, and you simply have to figure them out. I can't tell you how many freaking grapes I accidentally threw at the door to the bar. The relationship system is very minimal, and you can't really develop friendships with others outside of the romance options. I'll also consider it a downside whenever one of the games doesn't allow you to choose the gender of your character. The game does start to drag on a bit as you play, as there is not a lot of crop or animal variety, so by the end of year 1, I felt pretty okay with stopping. But overall, it was a really enjoyable experience and led to me deciding to make videos about the franchise. Though it certainly is an outdated game, it's aged surprisingly well, and I think the art direction is a big part of that. You can tell that a lot of love went into this game, and there are aspects of this game, such as the crop system, that continue fairly unchanged even in modern farming sims. Now for the final question. Would I recommend playing 1 year of the original Harvest Moon for the SNES? If you're a fan of the series and genre overall, I would highly recommend trying this game for at least a year. And if you can't get into the game for a whole year, at least try 1 season so you can experience the inspiration for almost every farming sim that has come since then. I'm by no means a completionist and truly believe the point of games is to have fun. That's why I'm not stressing myself out trying to 100% every Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons game or something wild like that. I just want to escape into the little worlds of these games and experience them. And share my experiences with you all. There's so much chaos and uncertainty in the real world, and there's something so peaceful about the routine and environment of farming sims. This has been TheFarmerJ. Next time, I'll be playing Harvest Moon for the Game Boy and Game Boy Color. I hope to get the next video out before too long, so stay tuned. Have any of you played the original Harvest Moon? What did you like or dislike about it? Tell me in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more, consider subscribing. See you next time!